Oh, where do I mute that? You won't need to mute.
Okay, everybody. So I think it's about 7 o'clock, and I just got a call from a council member who could not log on to Zoom. And so they're going to be heading over to the council chambers to get signed on. And so this is a new format for all of us. And I think there's probably going to be some hiccups as we go through this, but we're going to try to run through this agenda. And when we do call to order, if you can, I think Phil's going to run through that. And if your video is up on her screen, if you can just wave your hand, maybe we don't need to have everybody trying to talk at the same time. And then the more people we have muted, the less feedback we're going to get on these calls. So if you're not talking and you can find a way to mute your mic, that may be the best step. But Gary Shook is on his way to the council room, so that'll get us to a quorum. But I think if you want to go ahead and start the meeting, Mr. Mayor, we'll try to see how it goes.
Okay, I guess we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Can we do the roll call, please?
Pope,
Yep.
Chuck, Rubio, Morris,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Mather, Steiner,
Here.
Finn, Reinert.
Here.
Do we want to wait until one of them gets up there to the council so we have enough people to do the consent agenda and stuff?
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea. Did you want me to pull up the flag so you could do the pledge?
Yeah, we can go and do that.
Okay.
We're going to try to do it all together, or just you can do it yourself?
I'm going to mute mine.
Okay, you can go ahead and start whenever you're ready.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the
republic for which it stands.
One nation,
Oh, yeah.
under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Justice for all.
Oh, that's how you do it. Well, you want me to just go ahead and wait then, so that way till it gets at least in the background or something?
Sorry. Yes, we're going to have to before we vote on anything.
Okay.
If you want, we can skip down to some new business things, but I think he'll be there in a couple minutes. So if you guys are comfortable just sitting tight, we can do that until Gary gets there.
Okay.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Had Cole down there at that mechanic shop on the south end of town.
Mhm.
Said he'd done some diagnosing on the front end loader that broke down over there at Ready Mix or at Roto Mix.
Okay.
He said then he noticed the next day that Murphy's truck was sitting there repairing it. He wasn't real happy with it.
Huh.
The fact that, he helped the guys get started, and he said, I never sent the city a bill, wasn't intending on sending him a bill, but then he said, I come by the next day and he said, I see Murphy's equipment truck sitting there working on the loader.
Yeah.
He said he's getting very tired. He's made a couple tire bids, and he seems like Bernard Tire's been running 10% over what everybody else is just to get the bid.
Yeah. So we have a local vendor preference policy that's 10%. And by our definition of local, Cole does not meet that. So he called me and was frustrated about losing a bid to that. If you guys want to look at revising that, you can. But the way we define local is they have to, their business headquarters has to be in the city of Hoisington, which means they pay sales tax and property tax. Cole does not pay sales or property tax at his business. So he's not considered local according to that policy. I was not aware of the situation with him helping to diagnose a problem on the loader. I'm actually disappointed that we would do that to the guy. That's unfortunate.
Well, we're paying mileage for Murphy to come up here when he's like right here at the south end of town. We wouldn't have paid any mileage to have him go over and work on it. I don't know what the situation was, don't understand. I just know he come to me and was fit to be tight over that deal. Pretty upset over it.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I think we just had another member of the governing body join, maybe. Am I missing? I see 2 governing iPads.
All right,
Who is that?
can you hear me, Jonathan?
Yeah, who's that?
Jim
Jim
Morris,
Morris,
I got on my,
Okay.
Tell Shook he needs to sanitize my chair now that he's sitting in it.
Okay, so now we have quorum, Mayor, if you want to go ahead and jump into the consent agenda.
All right. We'll jump back in there on the consent agenda. Looks like we have 3 items under there. Does anybody have any questions on those or comments?
No, I move we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye or wave.
Aye.
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 Who seconded that?
Reinert?
Reinert.
I think I heard 4 or 5. Did Shooky holler in the background? I guess everybody.
Yes, he did.
Okay. So that all opposed, same sign. Motion will carry 5-0 on the consent agenda. The next item is the approval of this agenda.
Are there any other changes?
No, there's not.
I make a motion, we accept the approval of the agenda. Steiner.
I second
Morris, I'll
it.
second.
All in favor, say aye or wave.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0. There shouldn't be any unfinished business from last week, right? Then we can start on the new business, which the first item under there is the hotel transient guest tax request.
I tried to put this letter in everybody's packets, and it shouldn't be showing up on your screen right now. But the hotel ownership group has really been working hard to market the hotel. And I know right now they're seeing a big downturn, just like everybody else, from the changes in the economy. But they have requested funding for, gosh, I lost my video panel, guys, I'm sorry. They've requested funding for $8,000 to help to continue to market the hotel and do some activities that are going to draw people to our community. One thing that I thought was really interesting from this letter is that last year, over 7,000 people stayed at our hotel throughout the course of the year. So I think it's important. They're asking for the funds from the Transient Guest Tax Fund, and we have adequate funding to do this if you guys are comfortable with it.
Did they give you any idea exactly what all of that money's going to go to?
They put it in the letter. I mean, they've done radio marketing. You guys have probably heard some of the ads. They've done a lot on web and just really trying to promote it. They also talked about using some of these funds to go towards kind of complimenting or accenting the improvements we've made to the park, like maybe getting some just like the rec commission's done, getting pickleball rackets and sets and disc golf sets and things like that to try to really advertise and promote the park to bring more people in. And I know Becky's on the call. Becky, are you familiar with what these guys are doing on the marketing side?
Like you said, Jonathan, yes, we are doing a lot of, they have done some radio. They have done point of interest into the state. We have done a lot of extra advertising on brochures and those kind of things, sending them to different areas. And then with some of the big projects that are going on in the state around this area, we have contacted those companies to try to pull in some of their business. So it's just, some continuing to advertise. And I will say we had some members that wanted to close the motel with the COVID-19, and we did keep it open. We did shut down the second floor and have done a top to bottom pull out of everything in every room, cleaning. So the whole second floor will be done, sanitized and cleaned to be opened back up. And then we will do the same thing on the second floor. And we have had quite a few contractors within the last few weeks with the COVID virus that the motel has been with the first floor. We have been staying pretty well, 8 to 9 rooms a night, 10 sometimes. Weekends, not so much, but during the week, we have really seen sort of an upswing that has helped us out a lot. And I think the Cheyenne Bottoms, Mary Ann sent out today that I think that's going to be let in May, the bids on that, and then probably would be in June when they will start on that project. So I know that they are trying to get in, they want to stay on top of that and get information to all of those contractors that will be out there to try to get them to stay here. So
Does that money stay local or does it go nationwide? That
It would-
8,000?
it would stay local. Well, local plus, basically local. So like I said, Darren, the brochures where they try to get them at the point of interest to the state at the travel sites there, they do put some brochures there, but sometimes that's awful expensive to get your brochures in there.
Right.
So we try to do what we can with some of our brochures and get those around everywhere.
But Darren,
And-
another thing to consider is the ownership of that hotel is overwhelmingly people from northern Barton County. So I don't think it gets.
Right. I just want to make sure if we're spending that money that our hotel gets the use of that and that it doesn't.
Yes, it would be
like
for our,
corporate.
it's for our hotel only.
Cool.
Yes,
I'm
it
okay
would
with that.
it's for the roadway here in Hoisington.
Hey, if it keeps the motel open, I'm all for it.
I'm guessing they filled out all the stuff too, Becky, haven't they, for government funding if they can?
Yes, we filled out, I know Paula Manwaller has worked really hard and she has filled out at least 2 or 3 of the government fundings. I know she has done is it the EDHLT, whatever that one was. And then I know she did the payroll protection. And then I'm not sure what the last one. And we have also applied to a new SBA loan that would lower our interest rate to try to get the motel paid off.
I figured they had. I figured might throw that in there some way people don't think, oh, gave them money to help them through the downtime, to where they'd already covered that and this is just for the advertisement. I figured they had, but it's just better to have it out there or not.
Yes, Paula has, and she keeps on it every day. She's always checking to see if there isn't any new areas that we can get help with. So, and we've tried to keep most of our employees, like I said, we've cut back, but with the whole cleaning and sanitizing of the top floor, and then the second floor or the bottom floor will be next. We'll close it down and move everybody upstairs. That allows us to get that done and have a thorough cleaning of that.
On that, we need to do a vote then with that being 8.
I think I could approve it, but I think it's better just to have it reflected in the minutes that the governing body is in support of it. So if I'd like to make that motion and second it, that'd be great.
So Gary's going to make the motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve it, give them money.
I'll
I
second it.
second it.
All in favor, say aye or wave.
Aye.
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 I think I heard 5. All opposed, same sign. Motion will carry 5-0 to provide the 8,000 that they're requesting. The next item on there is the discussion of proposed property transfer from hotel ownership group.
And I don't know if you guys can see this on the screen, but there should be an aerial shot of the hotel, and then there's a little yellow area on the left side of that image that is everywhere to the west of the, I'm going to call it the cleaning shelter. That's probably not the right term. But they put up a building. There was a building there, and they've put a lot of money into it to make it so any hunters that came to visit can clean their whatever game they have. But the area west of that, we have a parking lot that we put out there next to the walking trail, and it's been pretty well used. And when we put it in, we thought the parking trail was mostly on our property. Well, a lot of it was on the hotel property. And so, and we also were talking about where would we put a bike share program and things like that. And so I just approached the ownership group and I said, hey, here's a random thought. We have this parking lot there, and in the future, you don't know what's going to happen with hotel ownership. If they were to ever sell it down the road, or you just had a group of owners that were unhappy with what the city was doing there, we thought it made a lot of sense to kind of preserve that entrance. If you see that red car there going down K4, there's the west entrance. And right now that's owned and maintained by the hotel. We have that parking lot that the only way to get there is through that entrance. So we thought if we could secure that moving forward, it really could be a nice asset for the community. And so when I talked to the ownership group, they were open to it at no cost to us, except for the cost of survey, getting all the legal work done, and all that. So before I spent a whole lot of time paying legal counsel or surveyors to work on this, I wanted to make sure that there was no concerns from the governing body about this.
No, I think it makes sense that way. Like I said, everything's peachy now, but you never know down the road. And that would be a
Yeah.
big, since the city, put the parking lot and all that in there.
Yeah, I don't have any problems with it.
Okay.
I agree too, because if that hotel ever sells, the hotel rightfully owns that property. We'll lose that entrance. Okay.
Sorry, Darren.
I'm good with it.
I also thought that if we did take over that, at some point down the road, you know, as long as we're doing well financially, it'd be nice if we could kind of improve that entrance on the west side, because the motel's got the great concrete parking lot, and the west side of it's kind of getting rough. And we've tried to,
Oh, yeah.
but I thought it'd be nice if we could improve that as we're able to.
That'd be a good project for the city crew with that new screed machine they have to go out there and finish that concrete out, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah.
Get practice up there before they do the real street.
So we're getting a little bit of an echo, so we're going to need to make sure that if that happens too much that we're muting our mics. But I think I've got consent from the governing body to kind of move forward with that project. So I'll get in touch with the city attorney, find out what the next steps are. Any other questions or concerns before I move to the next item?
No.
Go ahead and go to the third item, which is the discussion of the COVID-19 response and measures.
Okay, I just wanted to give you guys some updates. We have moved to a warning phase, which we've shared with everyone, and so we went ahead and moved down below the line that we talked about at the last meeting, but we also have made some other changes. And probably the biggest one for the public was when we closed our offices. But for our staff, we just divided all of our staff with the exception of the police department, our full-time EMS, myself, and our code enforcement officer. We split them all in half. And so those departments are going to be working 3 days a week, 12 hours a day. And we were really creative with our names. So team 1 works Monday through Wednesday, and then team 2 is working Thursday through Saturday. And they're working 12-hour days. We've made this change as part of an intentional effort to maintain continuity of operations. So if we have somebody that gets sick they're not wiping out the entire office staff or the entire public works department. And then between the two shifts on Wednesday evenings, we're fogging all of the offices with this chemical we bought 2 machines and chemical out of Great Bend that'll kill off any of this virus. And so we go through and fog all the facilities Wednesday night, and we have the facilities fogged on Saturday evening or Sunday to get everything killed off between shifts. So that's a big change. We also, as a result of an unfortunate incident with our EMS department, where we took a transfer for just a routine hospital to hospital transfer, we're not made aware that the individual's family had been tested for COVID-19. They ended up being positive, and we had 2 of our EMS staff quarantined. So to avoid that, every single call that our EMS department is taking, they'll be wearing a protective mask, they'll be wearing eye protection, and all these things meet the Board of EMS standards for response to a COVID case. But we're doing this for every call, and we don't have adequate equipment to do this all the time. And so we are using the CDC guidelines, and we're reusing masks after so many days after the virus would have died off. But that's a major change. And we had our first pool advisory board meeting, and their decision was to wait until after all this COVID-19 stuff is over to put out the RFQ and get responses from people. So they've asked to put that on hold until we're back to business as usual, because their thought was, if we are trying to get consultants to come out and talk to us about our pool, a lot of people aren't going to want to travel right now. So those are some of the things we've done. And then I've had a lot of questions about utilities, and we reached out to the Kansas Municipal Utilities office in McPherson, and they've kind of got mixed responses. But I think my intention is to move forward with kind of business as usual there. We will still work with people on payment plans, and we'll still assess penalties if they're late, but we're not going to shut anybody off. The governor's directed every utility provider in the state to not do shutoffs. And so we're not proposing to shut anybody off. But as of right now, we're still going to charge late fees if they don't pay their bill. Because we haven't seen yet a lot of people that are struggling to meet their bills that aren't our usuals, that are late on bills. So I think that's all that I had on my list, unless you guys had other questions or concerns about our response to COVID-19. Okay.
Are they having any problems getting a mask or anything for Hoisington from elsewhere?
That's a great question. We're reaching out to anybody and everybody. The problem is there's so many people competing for that equipment right now and there's just not enough to go around. But we think with the plan to reuse our mask, the N95 masks that are so hard to find, we think what we're doing on those is, if Megan went on a call and she used a mask, she would put it in a brown paper bag. When she got back, she would put the run number, the date of the call, and whose mask it was. And then after 5 days, the CDC's guidance says that it's okay to reuse that mask. So we're going to look at that run number. If that patient comes back positive for COVID-19 in the future, we will discard that mask. If it doesn't, Megan can reuse Megan's mask from 5 days or longer ago. That allows us to kind of extend the life of these products. And we're fortunate, we don't have a ton of calls. But if we didn't reuse these masks, we would run out of them very quickly. So yeah, we're having a hard time getting supplies, but we're trying to get creative in how to extend the life of the supplies.
And I do know that there is a hospital employee that's not working right now due to some health issues, and she did make, I think, 75 reusable masks and took them to the hospital while she's off, out of fabric that she had.
Yeah, and I think it's great, seeing people step up and be generous and creative. We've certainly seen that. And I know some other departments in our county they've been able to get hand sanitizer and things like that donated, which is fantastic. For us to meet the state protocols, we have to have an N95 mask. So those fabric masks are cool, but they don't meet the guidelines of the Board of EMS for a COVID call. But just as a precautionary measure, now instead of just responding to respiratory calls with masks, we're going to every single call with a mask, because we just had 2 of our staff members quarantined as a result of that. And Megan and I were talking, if we were to lose Megan and one of our other primary call takers for 2 weeks, we would be in a lot of trouble. And so we're trying to just take every precaution to protect those guys.
Does Megan have enough mask?
If we reuse them, she has enough mask for now,
Okay.
but only if we reuse them.
Because I know somebody that's got a few. If you need them, you could probably ask him and he'd be glad to share them.
Okay. Well, if you want to share that information with me, I'll be back in the office tomorrow, and I can certainly pass it on to Megan.
Talk to Bobby.
Okay.
Bobby's got some extras.
Okay. I will reach out to him if Megan knows him very well. So I'll see if.
Now, Bobby was nice and gave me 2 boxes to take to her a while back. So that's been a while, but if there is a couple more, I mean, he might have a couple extras that he can donate.
Okay. The last time I talked to her, I think we had between 50 and 75 masks, which sounds like a lot. But when you're sending 2 and 3 on a call, that's not going to go very far unless you're reusing them. So that's what we're doing. But if you guys don't have any other questions, I guess we can jump right on to payables.
We'll move to number 4, the consideration of appropriation ordinance number 1452. Everybody had a chance to read through a few that are on there, and does anybody have any questions?
Normally Jim and Darren are the guys on this.
I have a comment. I kind of like the new look. It's different than it has been in the past.
But you like it so far? It was kind of an accident, but we'll stick with it.
It's nice that it's broke up between, the different groups. That way you can see which group's doing what.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to read.
Okay. So you guys want to stick with this report?
Fine with me.
It's fine with me.
I like it.
I like it too. It's less pages.
Good. We'll pass that on to to our folks in the office. I think they'll be happy to hear that. Kim will probably be thrilled that this was a good mistake.
I kept flipping through thinking I was hitting the wrong thing since there was only 6 pages.
So nobody has any questions. I make a motion that we approve ordinance number 1452.
I'll second it.
Can we do a roll call vote, please?
Cook? Rubio, oh, sorry. Morris?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Steiner?
Yes.
Reiner?
Yes.
Got us both.
Thank you.
Well, I guess since there's no city manager updates, no executive session, the next one would be adjournment.
Oh, before we do that, I should have told you guys as part of my COVID-19 thing that as part of our response to that, it's been really hard to get contractors in to give us bids. And so we're extending the city hall bids at least until the next meeting. I have 2 contractors that have said they're going to bring me bids, but all I have is 2, and I'm really pushing hard to get 3. So that's delayed those bids at least until that time. So I know we promised a lot of bids for this meeting. We're seeing a lot of those we're having to push back just because we can't get people in.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I had, sorry.
Oh, that's understandable.
And you're feeling okay, Jonathan, right?
Yes, ma'am. I'm itching to get back in the office tomorrow.
Good.
Well, if there's nothing else, then we'll move to the adjournment.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye or wave.
Aye.
Aye.
Well, it looks like 5. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries and we will adjourn.
Okay.
That didn't go too bad.
That's right, I didn't. We're gonna try to record this and put it online, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
Hey.
Yep.
thanks.